What is your definition of socialism?
So socialism, as written by Marx, is when the workers own the means of production.
Exactly.
In the actual practical, it's when a small group of very powerful, pernicious people are able to control the rest of the population under the guise of helping the many, when in reality it helps the few, and you get dictatorship, and the revolution never actually comes.
Okay.
It ends in 100 million people dead over the last 100 years. Upon definition of communism and socialism, which are interchangeable terms, one is a more harsh degree of the other, is that the elimination of the family, the elimination of private property, and the deprivation of basic human rights such as right to speech, right to assembly, and right to worship. How is that not a good definition of communism or socialism?
That explains
the
fascism better.
Well, but in the Communist Manifesto, Marx said, quote, "We are here to destroy the nuclear family and eradicate the family because it was the original oppressive, tyrannical structure." He said, "Religion is the opiate of the masses and that private property must be eradicated." I have just now documented all three of those with evidence back to original source documents. And then in practice, Russia did all those three things when they were the Soviet Union for years.
What about American companies that function as worker cooperatives, which are effectively socialism in practice?
That is partially some of the tenets of Marx. Of course it is. Like Publix grocery stores in Florida.
So you're in favor of worker cooperatives then?
Yeah, if it's done voluntarily, that's the key.
Yeah.
If you go to a church and everyone says we're going to go share this meal, that's a voluntary cooperation. But socialism is not hinged on voluntarism. It's by force you must be part of this.
Well,
by force you must give us your money. Voluntarism is something we all support. It's when you start to use the heavy hand of the state that we start to object. Where am I wrong?
But then at the same time, if you claim that those are all negative things, then why do you practice certain things in the doctrines that you just stated?
Well, I'm not trying to take people's stuff away. I want people to have bigger families, and I want churches to remain open.
Yeah, but
So, for example, the thing that you've just said now about abortion, could you quickly remind me so I don't trip over my own
Sure, I'll
words?
do the first one. I say, a celebration of a pregnancy, why do we call that event a baby shower, not a fetus shower?
Right, so that in itself sounds like, oh, right, well, that means there's a cultural acceptance of the idea that it's a baby pre-birth. But that's just a linguistic, cultural way. So I'm pro-choice, for example, but I would still call it a baby shower. That doesn't mean I culturally accept the idea that it's a baby pre-birth. I'm just using a linguistic standard.
There's deeper meaning. Now, let's play this out. It's fun. So if the individual that has the baby shower decides right after the baby shower to have an abortion, what is that inside of her called?
I don't want to do this, if that's all right. I don't want to do abortion.
I know, but you see all of a sudden your argument
can I use a different example?
Sure. So gender's a made-up concept. Do you know who made it up?
Who made it up?
A guy by the name of John Money in the 1960s. Well, and why did he make it up?
No, I was going to say, wouldn't technically anything be a made-up concept?
No, sex is not made up. You can look at sex. XX and XY chromosomes are not made up.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
Okay. Do you acknowledge there's more than one gender?
There's two genders. Yes, there's more than one gender.
Do you acknowledge that trans...
So there are 0 genders, 2 sexes, infinite personalities. We recognize that people have different personalities. We don't think you should get a different definition on the forms you fill out or how people talk to you, recognize you, or how you are treated.
So when it comes to defining or looking at and seeing what or who is a man or a woman, it only refers to sex, like if they have a sort of... Is that correct?
Yeah. And it's worked really well for all of humanity. We decided to screw it up the last 20 years.
First, I'll give you £1,000 right now if you could tell me the U.S. citizen that was deported under Donald Trump. You said that twice. Yeah, the U.S. citizen that was deported under Donald Trump. Can anyone tell me? £1,000. I'll give it to you right now. Yeah, name? Wrong, not a U.S. citizen. Citizen El Salvador. Anyone else? U.S. citizen deported under Trump. Nope, that was a lie. You should know better than that. You go to Oxford, so that is a correction.
Give me one thing that white people and black people have different biologically.
Don't change the question of this, like DNA-wise, we are different.
No, we're not. That's a lie. It has been disproven. Front page of National Geographic 6 months ago. Racism created by society. If you look at DNA independently in a science laboratory, they cannot distinguish between a black person or a white person if they look at just the DNA, because the only difference is the melanin. It has been disproven. Race is a social construct that I...
Are you a Christian by any chance?
Very, very much so.
Like, why is that exactly?
Oh, Jesus saved my life. I'm a sinner, gave my life to Christ, most important decision I ever made.
So you believe the Bible is real?
Yes, I believe the Bible is true and real. Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, I could give you the technical answer. There's never been an archaeological discovery that has contradicted the truth of the Bible. And then, of course, the wisdom. There's not a truth of the Bible that if you apply to your life does not improve dramatically. And then finally, we have the most accurate and transparent, historically robust account that one can have of the most important figure ever to live in the history of the world, Jesus of Nazareth. And the resurrection is the pinpoint of my belief that Jesus did rise from the grave so that we may live. If Genesis 1:1 and the resurrection is true, anything in the Bible is possible. You're looking at the greatest miracle. The greatest miracle is creation. And then the fact that Jesus rose from the dead. And I say, how do you know that Jesus rose from the dead? Well, show me another historical piece of a story where so many people willingly died a brutal death for Allah, had everything to lose, and yet they went to the absolute death, from Paul to Peter to the half-brother of James, saying that Jesus is Lord, Jesus rose from the dead. Not to mention, if you were going to fake a story, you would not use female witnesses in the ancient world. In the scriptures, it said that the women were the first one to see Jesus Christ. If you're trying to fake a story, you would never do that. Not to mention the 500 people that saw Jesus after he rose from the dead. I mean, if I die?
Everything just goes away. How would you, if you could be associated with one thing, how would you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith.
We're here to stop the fall. We'll rise to the occasion and head off the devastation. Darkness can't stand the bright world that will last through the night. We will all stand and fight till we can all see the light. Rain on a person's kindness will get you hell. Mistake our kindness for weakness, can't you tell? Held to a standard higher than you have held yourselves. But keep stepping near the line and we'll see if you fare well. We're here to hold the wall. We're here to stop the fall. We'll rise to the occasion and then head off the devastation. Darkness can't stand the bright will that will last through the night. We will all stand and fight till we can all see the light. There's a line made in the world, those that love it and those who know. This ain't all there is and there's much more when we go. If you're fake make-believe excuses for pretending God's unreachable don't happen to work out, you can ask God yourself and then you really know. We're here to hold the wall. We're here to stop the fall. We'll rise to the occasion and then head off the devastation. Darkness can't stand the bright will that will last through the night. We will all stand and fight till we can all see the light. Making another masters for a loved one and hate the other when your family will sell you out for phony ideology. It makes you wonder, has our country already fallen past the point of no return or redemption? Or are we seeing the beginnings of a rising common sense self-reflection? I suspect it's the latter, cause the kids really ain't for it. They reject the rainbow mafia cause compelled speech is important. And you can be whatever suits you, but that doesn't mean I have to conform to whatever issue that's mentally bothering you. But man, I'll be praying for you and hope you figure it out too. But I will not enable you to trample on the innocence of any of these little youths. We're here to hold the wall. We're here to stop the fall. We'll rise to the occasion and head off devastation. Darkness can't stand the bright will that will last through the night. We will all stand and fight till we can all see the light. There's a line made in the world, those that love it and those who know. This ain't all there is and there's much more when we go. If you're fake, make believe excuses for pretending God's unreachable don't happen to work out, you can ask God yourself and then you really know. We're here to hold the wall. We're here to stop the fall. We'll rise to the occasion and head off the devastation. Darkness can't stand the bright will that will last through the night. We'll all stand and fight till we can all see the light. those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Tired of hearing the both sides' new script. I got a real big bone to pick with it. How come the left can hide what they commit by saying we do it too? Oh yeah, prove it. How many times you gonna get lied to by the same guys that always try to take down, destroy, or sell out everything that makes us the greatest country? It just shows they hate us. Confessions through projections, rules for radicals 101. Infection with intention, accuse others of what you've done. A communist insurrection, and it's just another rerun of another misconception of bad ideas made by bums. Democrats blame we Americans for slavery. We's a lot of people when they're the guilty party. Just cause you change your name to Democrat from Confederacy doesn't mean reparations shouldn't come straight from the DNC. Civil War we fought and won. Civil rights Dems cut and run. Talk good game till the story spun. This history lesson has just begun. Confessions through projections, rules for radicals 101. Prevention of attention, accuse others of what you've done. A communist insurrection, and it's just another rerun of another misconception of bad ideas made by bums. Reject false authority. Live in reality. Remember history, or repeating it will be your destiny.